World War III hasn't happened yet, and hopefully never will. But if it did, what form would it take? We assume one specific scenario, a full-scale conflict where China and Russia fight NATO and its Pacific allies. Anything less, like Russia versus NATO, isn't a world war. It's a mismatch where Russia would be forced to use nukes to survive. Most imagine World War III like the second, fast tanks and rapid movement. But World War II was the outlier. Modern warfare suggests the next global conflict will look less like the Blitzkrieg of 1940 and more like the grinding stalemate of World War I. In this video, we explain why modern technology, geography, and economics are conspiring to turn World War III into a slow, brutal crawl, and why our memories distort the future. Consider movement. In World War I, hundreds of thousands fought in tiny areas, fronts barely moving. Even without opposition, moving an army was a logistical nightmare. World War II changed this. It introduced mass motorized warfare. Trucks and tanks allowed for massive dashes. In 1941, Germans rushed 300 kilometers to Minsk in 5 days, driven by internal combustion and radio. But that speed relied on surprise and a tech gap. The Germans had radios and experience. The Soviets didn't. In World War III, that gap disappears. Satellites and drones make strategic surprise impossible. You cannot hide a tank division. Since both Russia and NATO possess war experience, the playing field is level. When the field is level, the lines stop moving. In World War I, the Allies had double the troops and artillery, and triple the aircraft of the Central Powers. Yet, it still took 4 years to win. World War II repeated this math. The Allies produced 5 times more armor and 10 times more artillery than the Axis. The war was won by overwhelming industrial output. In a NATO versus China-Russia scenario, this ratio changes. The West might retain a 2-to-1 aircraft advantage, but the manpower gap would be negligible. China's massive industry means NATO cannot simply outproduce the enemy like in 1945. With numbers this close, quick victories are impossible. This is the biggest factor. In World War II, air power was king. Bombers leveled cities. In the Gulf War, US air dominance was unquestioned. But defense has caught up. Modern SAMs are lethal. In Ukraine, aircraft dare not cross front lines. The Red Team, Russia-China, possesses nearly 2.5 times more long-range SAMs than NATO. This creates an invisible wall. NATO planes cannot simply fly over Beijing or Moscow to bomb factories. Stealth helps, but radars are getting smarter. The air war would be a stalemate, preventing the deep strikes that cripple economies. Why have tank rushes failed? Sensors. In 1944, tanks could hide in forests. Today, thermal satellites and drones detect them instantly. If you amass forces for a blitzkrieg, the enemy sees it immediately, striking with artillery and drones before engines even start. This forces armies to disperse into tiny squads, ironically resembling the trench raiding parties of World War I. Cheap defensive tech, mines, drones, has outpaced expensive offensive tech. When defense is cheaper than offense, war becomes static. Finally, resources. Germany lost both world wars because it was strangled. The Royal Navy cut off food and oil, and they starved. A China-Russia bloc is different. They are arguably immune to blockade. Russia has food and energy. China has manufacturing. They share a massive land border. If the US Navy blockades the oceans, they trade overland, acting as a self-sufficient continent. Unlike Germany, the Red Team would not run out of fuel or steel. They could sustain a war economy for a decade. We have been spoiled by the swift victories of the Gulf War, assuming modern tech means fast war. But there, the US had total superiority. In a peer-to-peer world war, that superiority vanishes. With effective air defense, transparent battlefields, and unblockable industrial blocks, you don't get a 6-week blitzkrieg. You get a grind. The next world war won't look like the highlight reels of World War II. It will look like the mud and stagnation of World War I, but with drones.